Why are we live streaming it on YouTube?
Sir, yes, Dr. Sanjay wants to see after this actually tomorrow.
But make it private, huh?
Yeah, it's an unlisted. Yes, it's an unlisted.
Okay. Okay. Screen. Okay, one moment. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes. Ashwini got exited, I guess.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi, good evening, guys. Hi,
Hi,
good evening.
yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I'm hanging out in my cool car in the middle of nowhere. my role that's as old as me.
Nice.
Cool.
I think Ashwin's back.
Yes. Okay. Sharing screen again. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? The presentation specifically.
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
Yes,
Yeah, it looks good. Hit play. There we go.
Okay. All right. So I didn't want to do the whole start to finish why we're doing this product spiel part of it. I'll just keep that short. I started off. Okay, let's start with the goal. I think this is sort of a North Star goal that I'd like to define it as. This is based on multiple conversations we've had with the team. Dr. Krishna, I mean, if you want to make changes to that, that's fine. But this is like a one-liner that I think we can use to pitch to ourselves first, then future team members and definitely investors. And it's sort of a three-pronged approach wherein there are different reasons why we're doing this in order to get to that place. That system, sort of the behavioral change is one of the first, would be the first objective, wherein we provide this sort of integrated doctor-patient care system. The other one is more of a behavioral change aspect is with the physicians, wherein physicians today, a lot of them do not actually take notes when they're consulting a patient. A system like this would enable them to do that in a better way and definitely change the way they handle patient care, specifically in the consultation section. And thirdly, enabling patients to have control over their patient records, not just with a single physician, but over time, and get a better understanding of how their health has been. And this also gives very good business intelligence and overarching patterns among even the population as such, right? So the collecting of data in the right way for the right reasons type of thing. So this ranges all the way from the smallest of prescriptions to fancy medical devices that we are aiming to integrate. So these three objectives as such will help us reach this goal where it's this really accessible and innovative healthcare EMR system for everyone. And in order to do this, the product is already in place, right? Our product is working. We have some customers, but multiple verticals. I want to go over them. Like in terms of what we want to achieve there, what are the steps like for over the next 6 months we're going to take. The first is design. Now, The good news is with design, we've already started work in terms of improving the UX, coming up with a theme for the product, and defining workflows in terms of consultation, physician, clinics, admin. I think the next would be something, a role of a nurse or a clinical staff. We've been working with GJ on this, and the idea is we will improve all those steps and actually get that working and get that into the product in the next 6 months to 8 months. So that would be like the V1 goal. They want to define this as the V1 goal. What I'm calling it as V1 goal is 6 to 8 months, starting the sake of this conversation, say starting May 1st to end of October. So November 1st. In that time, what are the things that we want to achieve? Hello, can people hear me?
Yes, please go on.
Yeah,
Okay, no, there was no sound, so I thought it hung up. Okay.
Ashwin, finish the whole thing, and then we will attack it.
Yeah, that's fine. No, there wasn't even any air noise in the background. So
We are spellbound. Right.
oh, okay. Oh boy. Okay, I shall continue. Okay. So with respect to design, these are some of the overarching themes. Working closely with GJ on this, I think we'll have this under control. I'm going on to the next step. Next is engineering. Now, engineering, there are a lot of moving parts, but I want to split into 3 major things. The first is the infrastructure setup. This involves moving to Postgres, setting up a process for GitLab, and then within this is the API work that Anand has been working on. There's significant progress that's done by Anand in this, Anand and Gaurav. After multiple conversations with Anand, the approach is that we will build this out in such a way that these changes are done. The timeline that we mapped out is about 2 months worth of time. If a single developer worked on this 8 hours a day for 2 months. Now there are a bunch of moving parts in this. If you want the breakdown, I can do that sometime later. I have a document for this. We can go over each of these line items within that. But this will ensure that the database is shifted. We move to Postgres. We have the AWS Lambda approach in terms of providing data. Now, with that in mind, I think this is a question that Ravi had asked me before in terms of whether we need to change the entire product. Can we use it as is? And since the sort of features are being built on the side right now, or we haven't come to that code freeze yet, the idea is that we incorporate these new API approaches into the current product that's there, such that when we transition 6 months later, it wouldn't be that much of a hassle. Instead of referring to the current database, how the data is being pulled, we would migrate the data and refer to the Lambda approach that Anand had mentioned. Now, I'm not going to get any further details into this. Maybe you can do that after I finish the presentation. And the third part is scraping of data. Now, Anand already had updates on OneGlance. There is one other library, one other service from which he was planning on doing this. Now, in terms of a timeline, we were estimating about 2 months to get that sorted, so that we have it such a way that for every user that we want to port, we can do it in a more automated process. I think that will likely happen over the course of a span of 2 months, but likely after the infrastructure setup. These are the 3 main things that we have in engineering. With respect to GitLab process, moving forward, we want all development to happen such that it happens in GitLab. Everything is committed in code. All deployments go through GitLab, and definitely all code is reviewed by the concerned parties, so that everyone knows what's going on, and there is that general process there. Moving on. privacy and security. So the product needs to have some kind of pen testing done, and definitely a security audit. I'm going to lean on Arun for this in terms of security audit and pen testing. He had mentioned that he had some contacts. I don't have any more information on this yet, but this is something that we will definitely need pre-launch for V1. And the third is RBAC, or role-based access control. This will help shape the core app sort of architecture, what data is accessed by who. Also from a product standpoint, in terms of the different workflows I mentioned earlier, be it the physician workflow, the patients, admin, clinical staff. So those are three things with respect to privacy and security. Now, with respect to RBAC, when I say we will have RBAC for V1, we need to definitely have some kind of checkpoint wherein it's a basic skeletal structure is set, and then as and when we add new features, we would be able to sort of add those to the different roles that are there. Now, this would, if you have worked with an RBAC based system or SaaS product before, the level that I'm envisioning is fairly rudimentary in comparison to the more complex systems like your Jira or Slack. This would be on a very simple level. With respect to compliance, I've just left it there, mentioned it here, but it's a conversation that I want to have with the lawyer. Ravi had mentioned about a lawyer who was in Bangalore. The running joke is that we have mentioned, we say that we are coming to Bangalore and we haven't. Ravi, we definitely will. After I'm back from my trip, I will definitely show up in Bangalore for that conversation with the lawyer. So moving on, L&D. Now, there are different parts in this product that are very important, right? Like product design engineering. L&D is as important as one of those for it to succeed. Now, when I say L&D, like it's not just one person. Like we have one person who has the know-how, who understands the medical industry, right? But we need like a team for this, and we need resources. Like we need training materials for this, and definitely sort of a guidelines in terms of how to train, how to use the product. Now, trying to get this set up, it's going to take some time, but it's something that's necessary at the first step. Like by launch of V1, we would need to have this sort of shaped so to some extent that it won't be just one person, but as a team, we will be helping out whoever we hire moving forward. In terms of support, one moment. Yes, so, okay. In terms of support, when we launch the product, we could be our initial frontline of defense L1 support personnel, but it won't be possible for us to keep doing that all day. As and when doctors have queries, they should be able to easily just type out a question and send it to our team. So, I'm thinking of using an integrated chat functionality that would, wherein our agents would get those questions, so our support agents. This would be in the form of questions. They could do a screen sharing session and so on, so that work is resolved. Now, we would need technical account managers to handle this and support agents. Initially, some of us will be playing the role of technical account managers or even support agents also, depending on how many people we're able to hire by V1 or say a couple of months after V1. The rate at which people have been asking for this product, I'm fairly certain I'm very positive that you'll have a lot of physicians using this post V1 launch. So we're going to need them. And then finally, in terms from a very self-service approach, given that we are building a SaaS product, it needs to definitely have an FAQ section with a strong knowledge base. Now, the knowledge base evolves over time, and it's a constant sort of work in progress. It's never complete. But definitely the tutorials, or to a certain extent, some level of hand-holding will be there in terms of documentation. So that physicians can ideally onboard themselves to some extent. Currently, we are doing the registration, but imagine a scenario where People go to the Cliniqtec website, they sign up, they say, provide the information, get validated within 30 seconds or so, or within a very short duration of time. And then, they use the knowledge base to get their questions answered. Moving on, pricing. Multiple discussions on this also. It's something that has always boggled me in terms of the pricing. I've asked, Ravi and Dr. Krishna on this. Why this price? Why are you charging this much? Why is it 2K? Why not more? Why not less? And from a SaaS point of view, we are trying to do this pan India, and we need to have it steady, or not steady, or standardized, such that the pricing model reflects the entire population. I know that there is this approach wherein, depending on where the physicians are, we charge more money or less money. I want to move away from that, wherein we have standard.
That's not true. That's not true.
We don't need that, as in what's not true.
That's not true. Anyway, we'll come back to it. In fact, we can look at the current pricing model afterwards. But
Yeah, he's saying location-based variation is not true.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, then that's good then. I don't want the location-based variation, which is what I was getting to. We will have tier-based plans based on how they use, how much to what extent they use our product. The metric with which we define that is something that I would like to discuss with the team and figure out. But that's the approach that I'm going for. It usually works for SaaS products. People are able to align with that idea. And then based on what they want, the SaaS companies usually provide add-ons for which they charge a fee, which usually works out in the better.
We can have this conversation later, Ashwin. Go ahead, finish this out. 10 minutes left.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to the next slide. Payments and billing. Yeah, I mentioned this, right? Subscription model, different tiers, monthly, semi-annual, annual is what I was looking at. I wasn't sure if biannual or 2 years was a good enough time, but some doctors, from what I understood, want the 2 years. This is something that we need to figure out. But usually for SaaS, monthly and annual generally work fairly well. Then I'm on my next step. Okay, sales and marketing. We need a core sales team with focused on different regions. And then again, same thing, training, documentation, everything that's listed there, we need to have that sorted. Now this we don't exactly need for V1. Maybe we could start off with our initial network, but we need to be mindful of this as we build out the product. I'm not too concerned about sales and marketing right now. This is not in the priority. However, I'm mentioning it here. In terms of hiring people, we need a 1 or 2 at most in terms of HR. Need to source potential candidates. We need job descriptions, and definitely someone who's from a legal point of view, someone part-time whom you can work with a lawyer in Bangalore. I don't know if we can use them. If not, somebody else. But definitely, in terms of team building, these are some of the resources that we need. I'm not even going into engineering or design. This is other aspects, other sections. And then the team. And then SaaS as a way forward. This is something, okay, Arun, how much time do you have?
8 minutes, go for it.
Okay, so this is a healthcare product, yes, but I'm looking at it more as a SaaS product. So some of the learnings, some of the pitfalls that generally SaaS companies have, a lot of those apply to us also, given that we are primarily digital across multiple devices. There are certain patterns of usage, patterns of spending that we need to be very mindful of. So that's something that I would definitely bring to the table moving forward. I don't have any specific ways to explain this, other than in different facets I can talk about it, but it's something we need to be very thoughtful of in terms of revenue growth, in terms of year-on-year user base growth, retention levels after they've onboarded, those factors. And then, so okay, what's next? For V1, this is what we'll be working on till October, till the end of October. First priority, the re-architecture work, the UX and UI design completion. And I include the user interface design, UI design also, because at this point, I would have definitely worked with GG or another designer and gotten out our overall theme for the product and get that incorporated into the product. So maybe a coat of new paint to start with, but definitely the UX flow to start with as its backbone. And then in terms of features, feature consolidation is all the features that currently there, whatever doctor has in mind for the foreseeable future, and how we can integrate that such that everything falls in place. And when we ship the product as V1, it is fairly cohesive. We can have some parts that are stuck with Band-Aid, which is okay. It's always there. But there are the core aspects and its immediate connected modules should work as intended. That's the idea. The second priority is security and compliance, L&D and data scraping. Now we definitely need to work with another developer to work on the data scraping if Anand is going to be doing the re-architecture work. But I'd rather have somebody else shift that. But that's priority 2. And then the third aspect is the current hardware integration that we have done and ensuring that we build on that, because we should not lose sight of that. The payments and billing gateway section is a beast by itself. So we would likely assign the resource who will take care of that. And then finally, building out our Cliniqtec product team. And then these are the couple of questions that I had. Are we going to come up with a new name for the product, and our paperwork complete so that we can move forward? Like I asked this question about the paperwork because right now, Confluence, Jira, and every tools that we are using for managing our product development is on personal accounts, right? We don't even have official emails. So like, I know it might not sound like a big deal, but it's something that's part of the process that's needed if you have to hire new talent, questions that they ask. This includes a website also. That's something that we need to work on. But definitely these are questions that our customers will ask in terms of a website, or how it's going. Investors will ask, as well as our future talent will ask. So there's a couple of questions. That's it. And I will stop at the screen. I'm done.
Okay. Sorry, say that
I couldn't
again.
hear you, doctor. Hello.
Do you want to comment first?
No, I think I'm for the most part, I think I agree with everything that's been laid out. The name question is definitely something that's been going on through my head. I haven't had time to sit down and think about it. I think we should change the name. I don't think Cliniqtec works. I think that's too many syllables going on there, so it doesn't flow well. For the paperwork, Ashwin, I know Smith is coordinating some stuff for me. So are you. And I had asked for a slight change in the term sheet from my lawyer, so I'm just waiting for that final back from my end. Hopefully, Becca's coordinating that for me, so hopefully they'll have it by by actually today or tomorrow. Beyond that, my big question is, do you have a timeline for when these hires need to happen? And do you have a timeline and a roadmap for essentially going live, and what the future looks like?
For the hires, I'm not sure yet, because with the resources that we currently have, we can definitely keep at it. But I'm estimating about within the next 2-3 months, in terms of at least another developer and one person in HR. The others we can figure out as and when we go. I mean, we need members in every vertical as in the next 6 months.
Okay,
Just
so
so
what
that
would be nice
we're clear.
is to have you and Smith sit down together and come up with a spreadsheet of when the hires need to happen, how much money we end up spending on each of that person per month, and what our burn is every month.
Okay, I can come up with a sheet for that. Yes, I can. Yeah, we can work on that and get that to you. Okay, so that was the
So yeah,
first
that
question.
gives me an idea of like how much funding we need, when we need to get it in, or just not just me, the rest of the directors as well, and that way we can keep on top of that. Also account for what's coming in as in terms of SaaS revenue at the moment on that spreadsheet, and make sure to have a clear idea of where the status quo is. And
Okay.
on that note, I need to jump off. I'll follow up with the team in about an hour.
Okay.
All right. Cheers.
Thanks.
I'm going to continue because I'm not.
Hello. Hey, Doc. I can't hear you. Are you saying anything?
Yeah, look at the chat box. One again. Let me turn this fan off, and you should hear. Okay. All right. So look at the chat box, and can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. So if you look at the chat box, I put up the 5 important things on the top. I think what we need to do is, one is to write a business plan. Right. I think this is a good start, but I think we need to really sit and write a business plan. You guys can get it started. I'll work with you, but I think, let us have a business plan that has a 3-year horizon, and then we write an annual operating plan. You guys have experience with this, or you want me to help you?
Doc, we'll use your help definitely.
3-year horizon. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, go on.
We have to look at it. See, so one thing is, okay, a 3-year horizon is basically thinking about where we are going to end up in 3 years. But even if you're able to do, 2 years, but generally business plans are written for 3 years. So I'll help you set it up. Maybe, what we could do is we should really have a workshop that puts all of this together and come up with a business plan for the organization. So this is one very, very crucial thing. Second, if you look at this, I've sort of summarized the top priority that you have. And one is this. So 4 things: stability, scalability, security, compliance, and certification. I think that since we have a working product, I think the most important resources should be allocated to these 4. And I think that's what you've also said. The third is we need to look at resource allocation. I think you're right. At this point of time, we really don't have to spend time on marketing and sales, because we are coming up with an improved product, and we will use our current contacts for more resources. We already have one resource in place who will support the admin, but you should also bill for somebody who at least part-time keeps accounts. What happens in startups is that we don't spend time on having a good accountant on board, or somebody who takes care of accounts, and we end up doing all sorts of stuff. So please have a resource allocation for someone who takes care of accounts. You will not regret it later, right? So that needs to come in first. So I think one of the keys, which Smith also identified, is devices as DAS as a key strategy. So somewhere along this, we need to continue to be. We need to have some time. See, since the promoters are going to be part of the team, right? If I'm right, is that a correct assumption that both what is it called, Arun and Ravi are part of the team, the tech team?
Yes, that's what we have. Yeah.
Right. So we need to also look at time allocations. For example, I would still like, about 5 to 10% of time for me to be able to play around with the next level of development from a conceptual point of view. This is one. because I need to be at least 6 months or 1 year ahead of you guys in some, at least to be working at concept level. The second part is, I think we need to start putting, and some amount of time needs to be of at least Ravi and maybe one other resource, not a large amount, at least 2 hours a week on device as a strategy. So while we work on this, we need to say who's in charge of what, and also we need to start looking at people's time, which means that there should be because some of us are part-time in it, some of us are going to be full-time in it. So how much time are we going to allocate, and what are the resources that are coming? Of course, I think Arun and I and Ravi will start looking at of course the other options. So I think what we need to do is to move this into a business plan. Even if you're not able to do a 3-year business plan, we should have a 1-year operating plan.
Okay, I was gonna talk about it as a runway, but yeah, I guess that makes more sense. Usually about 18 months is what I was gonna talk about, 1.5 years.
Right. So since healthcare, so one of the things you must remember is in healthcare, ROIs are never 3 years, never 1.5 years, 3 years. That's why I put a 3-year business plan. But looks like
Okay.
we will not be too far away if we are aggressive. Especially the market sort of somewhat becomes very favorable for us. Anand, the other one is HealthPix. I don't think HealthPix really maintains a lot of data, but since they have sort of moved into advertising medicines, there's a lot of disgruntlement that goes on. So we'll talk about scrape. The other thing is that while scraping is an important part of what we will do, we will spend a lot of time onboarding people who don't have existing EMRs also. So we will balance it out. But I think
Got it.
Good idea. So this is my comments on it. The other thing, Ashwin, that I want you to think about, and especially when Arun in the loop, is a couple of things. One, if you're going to re-register the company, which I think at least at now, I don't think you could retain the Cliniqtec name for the company and rename the product. So that's one thing you can do. The second thing is,
that would be better.
Doctor, I think everyone got that that little out of context, the brand name of the product. So your physician portal should have that would be the name that needs sort of like a branding, not the company name. I think that would be easy.
Otherwise, we have to redo the entire registration process.
Yeah, I think Arun is under the impression that, I think all of us, we initially thought that Cliniqtec is the name of the app.
No, Cliniqtec is a company.
Yeah. So
see, we could have products. We could have an IP product coming in, and they can all be different.
Yeah.
Right. Our core product we can rebrand and rechange the name of the product. Right. You guys can work on it. And it's not like it's an emergency. So we could take our time to do it. The second thing is that there is another thing that is actually going in my mind. And the thing is whether to shift operations to a place like Singapore, where you'll have a lot more startup help and other stuff. That is a thing that you can think about as a strategy later. Whether it is even required, I don't know. But whether we should be thinking of, I think there is a big market for a product like this. For example, I had a call from Sri Lanka saying, I heard that you're doing this. Do you think it should come in? Right now, the Sri Lankan rupee is not worth anything. But Sri Lanka is just the tip of an iceberg, Vietnam, Vietnam, Thailand, these are places where we could think about over a period of time. And it may be a good idea within the 6 months to start exploring partners. Right. So that's something that put it on the top of put it somewhere in the back of your head. It's not an emergency, but I'm looking at the future of the product, at least the clinic product in other locations where, we don't have to deal with big insurance like the US.
Got it. Okay. Doc, I have a couple of things. So with this, okay, going back to the part about the device as a service. The device as a service is actually a fairly good idea that we can just build off as a separate, a SaaS product, and then keep going, do that as a full-time thing. However, I'm not sure if we should be doing that right now. In terms of resources, we are strapped, and I would say that if we have to do both of these things, I feel like we are divesting our resources in a way that will only slow down both. I like the idea of the device as a service. I've been pitching for it. I've even had a long discussion with Smith on this. I can spoke with Arun also on the same thing. But I feel like we need to hold off on it initially.
I do agree.
Because see, if, okay, you're saying you need to be 6 months ahead in terms of concepts. Yeah, I get that. Totally fine. But those conversations, I feel like I need to be there with you if you're going to hash out some ideas. Like that has to be there. And then if Ravi says, hey, I have some time, then I want Ravi for this. I can't be, if Ravi is building something else, I don't know, like we got to work as one. If it comes to device as a service, maybe say, okay, think of this scenario, right? V1, we launch by end of October or by end of November, in that time frame. We get a good response, things are going well, and money comes in. Like
So
a lot of good things
the
are
question
happening.
is, are we calling
that
this
time.
V1 or V2? We already have a V1.
Oh, okay. For me, this is V1. So I in my head, I was calling it V1. My bad. I will call it V2.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I think Anand has got something to pitch in, I guess. Yeah, Anand.
Oh,
Let's
sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, thank you Ravi, for finding it out. So one thing I wanted to say is, right now we are just scraping one system. The next one I thought was going to be DocPulse. If it is not DocPulse, but then we should talk about the priority of each of them, and have a separate call about it to ensure that we're doing.
The priority is probably health picks, but we can take it offline.
Yeah, Anand, actually, what I suggest is actually, see, this one glance onboarding is very, very important for us, because 3 of our who wanted to onboard on our application, they were using an one glance. So that is why we given a priority to the one glance application. Otherwise, we could have holded it. But one glance is done. So probably we can put a break for scrapping until we get another listening chance for DocPulse or maybe in a health.
No, I see. Right now you can put it on hold, Ravi.
Yeah.
See, there's not much in health picks. People.
Yes, I know. The data is going as a blog. Actually, it's in a meta tag. Yeah. Yes. Meta.
So that is
okay.
Okay, but Anand, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, so when one glance, the basic figuring out how to scrape and scraping it for one data is done. But what I'm currently working on is creating a system using that to push it directly to the database. So that part is still not complete, and I'll be finishing that probably in this week or the next week after this. That way, anybody can, like me or Ravi or somebody who has access to the database, can just use a login and then log into that person and scrape their data off and push it to the database. So, so that's what I'm going to do. If you want to do it for health clicks or DocPulse, what will happen is this scraping will be split into 2 layers. The first layer will be which website and how to scrape that website. The second section will be to push it to your database. The second section won't change. It will still be the same. Scraping, that logic alone will be different for different websites. So that is the approach that I'm going forward. That's usually what scales very well for in all the things that I've done so far. So that's the same approach I'm taking. And once I finish this, I think you'll be able to see it, like how it is. You can customize this to use it for another website as well. So yeah, that's something I want to update you on that. So we don't have to, once we finish this, we'll be in a really good place to start something else as well. So yeah, that's something I want to give an update on. That's all.
Thanks.
Okay, so Ashwin, I just wanted to sort of take you up on this. So one of the things that think of me as you know, as having my own Google lab, right? So I will do. I will not take any time away from the majority of your time away from this thing, but you know, I will still need about 5 to 10% of Ravi's time to you know, I will say try this out, try that out, and you know, and come back to you. So when I come to you, it will be something that can be testable. So I'm not going to push any code in without your knowledge or do this. But you know, I get to have my own little lab where I play with my mice. So that's part of the deal.
Okay. But I'm saying loop me in.
I will call
No.
I will call the head honcho before I take anyone's time.
Okay, no, see, the creative part of this exercise, right, where we come up with ideas, brainstorm how it works, that is usually a very fun exercise. It's a fun part of product building. You can't have all the fun by yourself, right? You need to bring us in the fold.
No, you can listen. but you should. But Ravi will tell you. You know, I have some of the craziest ideas in the world. So when it's formed, it's great. But you can come and be part of the.
Yeah, Ashwin, you know, he can only listen. Okay.
Because I'll tell you something. You'll kill me for saying some of the stuff I do in that. Ravi is the only. You can be part of it if you like. Absolutely.
Can I say something?
Yes, me.
Yeah. We should. I think you guys should let Ashwin join in the last 10 minutes.
Oh, the idea is. I come
Ashwin,
from the point
Ashwin,
of view
if you are willing to get subjected to the kind of torture that I put Ravi through, welcome. And Ravi?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Run away into
Doc, I feel like I'm already signing up for this lock, stock, and barrel. So it's not.
Mango, sir.
Where I'm coming from is the idea that you work as one team. Everyone's on the same page in terms of what our goal is. And everyone's aware of what the other
ideas will be shared. Ideas will be shared.
That's what I'm talking
all I want to do is, you know, I'm trying to get R&D budget in place. You understand? You know, at the bottom of all of this, I'm still an academician. So I want to make sure there's an R&D budget in place and resources are in place. If you want to be part of that resource, I'm the happiest human being in the world. But what I'm trying to say is that while we do this, my job is to keep my eyes open, look at the market, see where it is going, and come and say, "Hey guys, we need ideas." So that's the contribution I will keep on doing. My second role, and I will. This is something that I do want to make it clear to the entire team that in many ways I will be the custodian of values. In the sense that I will put an ethical mirror into it and show an ethical mirror or a value mirror to the whole proposition at any point of time. And you guys should be prepared to listen to that or you know, reflect on it, because that's a role I do very, very well in organizations. In fact, I am in certain organizations only for that role, that as a custodian of the values of the organization. So there are some founder values on this. For example, you saw this stuff today about using drug advertisements in Myanmar. Right? So that's what takes people off. But it's also not ethical to do. So that will be my role in many ways throughout the journey. I will call up and say, can't do, or at least have a discussion about it. So you guys, I know, I hope you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, of course. I'm usually considered the privacy nut in my group, so I'll probably be the first one aligning with you on that. So don't worry about it.
There's a lot more into this because it involves human lives, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree.
Right. So I mean, at the end of all of this, the bottom line is that we are here to improve lives for patients. And that why and how are we doing? We're enabling doctors, and I think that is the bottom line of what we're doing. There's a mission. I mean, we should write a mission statement, and that mission is exactly that. That to improve the health of patients by enabling physicians to provide better patient care. And that is our mission. That's what we do. And all the stuff that we're doing is based on that. And I think, let's write that down. I think it's a good thing to have a mission, vision, strategy, and business plan, because what it does is, at times of, stress, discord, resource crunches, we go back to the basics and say, okay, this is who we are. And then if we diversify too much or go in directions that really are not meant to, we come back and say, this is our mission. So I think one of the things we should do the next 8 weeks is to make sure we have. It's going to take time. We should probably, all of the ones in India should probably meet once, and we'll have a workshop. Actually, a mission, vision, strategy, business workshop, business plan workshop, at the end of which we have a business plan.
Okay. Okay. Again, a couple of things. First, could you repeat the mission statement?
So I'll write it up and send it to you. But our mission is that we improve health of patients by enabling physicians to provide better care.
Okay.
That's a broad mission. We can narrow it down, right? So there are two parts to it. One is that that ultimately the benefits reach patients. And the second also tells our strategy is that we are not a direct to patient company at this point of time. We can think about that later, but at this point of time, we are enablers of physicians, right? For the healthcare system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we improve health of patients by enabling physicians and healthcare organizations provide better patient care. So I've expanded it so that in case we are dealing with healthcare organizations, that's okay.
Okay, I've written it down. We'll definitely
go over this.
We'll go over this when we meet in person. But okay, the other thing is in terms of okay. So what's next?
Yeah, Ashwin, before that, actually, can I?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. The plan is good. Actually, the presentation is good. But I really worked with you guys. Actually, in the sense we had to sit down and come out with the roadmap at the earliest, and let us freeze the matrices, resource matrices, so that is very, very important in respect of the things. And Smith, I don't want to leave you across actually, because you promised us you'll be helping us in the operations. So already Dr. Sanjay has put a roadmap for you, so you have to join him.
Yeah, absolutely, Ravi.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the next move is actually, I feel this is what we had to buckle up and start working towards. What is our next milestones, I guess.
Right. So let me come here and tell you that unless you've defined what you're going to achieve at the end of 18 months, right? What I really like to see in organizations is you decide what you're going to be at the end of 18 months and work your way backwards. I actually tell them to do 3 years, but if tech companies being the companies that they are, think about 18 months. I'm fine with that. But at the end of 18 months, we will be A, B, C, D, E. We will be the number 3 EMR provider in the country. I don't care. Whatever you want, I want those objectives done. That we will have the highest level of certification for any outpatient EMR in the world. We will have, so put down your 5 or 6 objectives for your 18 months, right?
Got it. Mm-hmm.
And we would have onboarded 1,000 physicians and reach out to 10,000 patients. It doesn't matter. So think about, so now that you've gotten this, I know I'm asking you to go back to the drawing board a little.
That's fine.
Come back to me with an objective. Come back to the team with you can use all the resources that you have at this point of view with you, but sit together and write down 6 objectives that you can fulfill at the end of 6 months or 18 months. Then go back and say, for each of these objectives, what is the strategy? What is the strategy? What are the measurables? What are the milestones? And what are the resources? Think about, I mean, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Could you just give us an example?
So, for example,
like with respect to the 1,000 patients,
right? No, or 1,000 clinicians, right? So at the end of so and so, we will be. I'll give you the easy one. At the end of 18 months, we will be the most secure and highly certified EMR in the country. That's easy, right? 18 months. So you need to put the list of the certification that you want. You need to put up the list of security that you're going to have. Compare yourself with the market. Find out what is worth doing, and then start working backwards and saying by 3 months we need to do this. By 6 months we need to achieve this. By 9 months we need to achieve this. Right? I gave you a quick example. So if you're doing a patient, if you need to have 1,000 patients, right? 1,000 clinicians on board, then you need to say we need to, so which means that our rate of aggregation of patients must double, of clinicians must double every 3 months or every 6 months, right? So 1,000. And that requires a marketing strategy, correct? What is our marketing strategy? What are you going to do? How is it social media? How is it direct to doctor marketing, right? And what are the resources for that? I'm not saying that these should be your objectives, but I'd like to see objectives that we are
along these lines.
Just like we have a mission, right? What I'm now trying to tell you is to create a vision for 18 months. The mission is who we are, right? What we do. The vision is where do we want to be in 1.5 years or 3 years.
Sir, sorry to hold you on actually, because if I'm not wrong, actually we are revamping the whole technical stuff, but we are not in line with sales and marketing at present. Because until unless we get a V2 version, we release a V2. Ravi, I don't think so. We are going with the sales and marketing concept at all.
Correct. So I have no problem with any of that. All I want to know is, have you thought ahead for 18 months?
Yeah, he has mentioned in his this thing, but only thing is he has to put. That's what actually I told him. We had to rework on
Ravi,
define
so this is great. See, what Ashwin has said is, see, what is happening is each one of us is looking at the whole thing we are looking at different parts of the elephant, right?
True.
So all I'm trying to do is for us to move a little back and look at the whole elephant and say, how are we going to do?
That's what actually he was also mentioning. We will come out with the next plan of action. What needs to be done? Yes, Smith. Go on.
No, 1 second. Let me finish, Ravi. Just hold on. So that is what business plans do. Business plans are never perfect, right?
Yeah.
And they can be changed over a period of time. But it sort of freezes a direction in the. So if you say, look, sales and marketing is not my first 6-month priority, but it's my next 12-month priority, then it means that that is part of a business plan.
True.
But all I'm saying is I'd like to see a business plan in place. Yes, Smith. Smith, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, Doc, I completely agree with the roadmap kind of a thing. And I think we started with that revenue model, and from there we can pick it up. I would say we start with that, we break it down component wise, we start putting those, portions in the resources levels. And suddenly we'll start having that like a coherent picture. Like the last week in the discussion during that convention, I think that was like the starting point, I think.
So all I'm saying again is for you to think about where do you see this company in 18 months, right? Or 36 months.
For sure. So right now,
write down those
the
5 things.
presentation, so the presentation right now covers the gaps in many ways. We'll have to have that two ways we can start down to that. One, we align these gaps with a spreadsheet in terms of like month on month, things like that. So if you have defining 6 months to say like a go live motion, then that 6 months is what we have to start planning for all the other points of the resources, how much, where, what time, etc. So that becomes the first level. Once we get that going, we circulate that, and then we have that meeting what we talked about in person as a workshop. So at least now there's a baseline to start working from.
Absolutely.
Like baseline will start help each person in that workshop, like figuring out, okay, where I can concentrate the next 2 months, where I can concentrate 2 months, because the vision's clear. We have the objectives in mind. We know what we want to achieve. Like 18 months, I have all these things I want to achieve.
Okay.
And in some ways, I kind of also want to say that, what Ashwin and Anand, like I've always been telling Ashwin that no, let's also try to get the DAS into the roadmap and things like that. We'll definitely be able to put all these once we get that baseline agreed. So this will be the first level, I would say. Like, let's start with that now. We got this thing out of the way.
Once again, I agree. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is again, my job is to challenge it. So what I'm asking Ashwin to do is to prognosticate and tell me, and that will give us a roadmap. See, you can't have a roadmap till you know the destination.
Destination's clear, sir. V2 in 6 months.
That's not my
destination. No, that's not the destination.
So that's not the destination.
I agree. Doc, I completely agree with where you're going. Okay.
Short term.
Smith and I worked on a document on this in terms of the destination as to what we want to see as a holy grail. However, we did break it down and saw it. Again, if I were to use the elephant analogy, we still wrote down how each leg of the elephant and the trunk had to be. But still, it was a start. If you could just give me one moment.
Show us the elephant. That's all I'm telling Ashwin.
We colored it black and blue.
So we started writing this down, right? North Star, product opportunity. So I started breaking it down in terms of we wanted to give a relative score for each vertical. Okay, 1 sec. My phone decides to act up now. Okay, now it works. Okay. So in terms of where we are now, no. Can you see my screen? It's the table. So in terms of the score, don't worry about the score. We were thinking of what holy grail would be.
The score is a weightage, right?
Just and a relative weightage of where we are and where we like to be. So the V2 goal there is what I was talking about and what I used for the presentation. Some of the North Star elements, so I put here 24 months, so not 18. Some of these things are, yes, incomplete. That's why I said rudimentary. But other than that, some of the parts that I've taken out, so for example, payment and billing, right? The level of features and functionality and how integrated it is and how, so think of the term world-class here, right? Like if you take a world-class SaaS product like say Slack or Jira, the type of options that they have that the users can use, self-service levels and so on. So I was breaking it down along those lines. Again, parts of the elephant, not the whole elephant. It's not painted here, but this still gives us to some extent what we are aiming for. If you were to take each part of our product growth and talk about it. Now, this document is by nowhere close to being complete, but this is a start. I don't know if you're able to see this while I'm scrolling.
But let me. I mean, you have a few minutes. I'll challenge you one more time.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
right. So this is a strategy, not an end, right? Not an objective. So
it's not.
I want you to think in terms of objectives, right? I want you to think in terms of where will this company be as in terms of a product, in terms of bottom line or top line, in terms of customer experience or in terms of perception and name recognition. See, I have this discussion all the time with people. Look, somebody tells me IT needs to be doing this, IT needs to be doing that. In institutions, I tell them, look, IT is an enabler. IT is not the end, right? So you've given me a strategy. You've not given me a vision. Give me a vision. I know I'm challenging you guys, but think about it. This is what I do. I do these. This is exactly what I do for a living. So I challenge people. So what is your vision? The first time you met me, when your eyes were lit up, you told me, I can see a million patients on board, right? To me, that's a mission. That's a vision.
Yeah, I haven't quantified it, but yes, definitely.
That could be a 10-year vision. I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. You give me a 3-year vision.
Okay.
So see, ultimately, all of this tech that you guys are doing, which is great, and I don't understand any of it, doesn't mean anything unless the stakeholder who's using it is able to use it and take care of patients better. Unless the promoters feel, okay, these guys have created value for us, or investors or stockholders see that there is value in the company, correct? That we are not seen as that this is seen as a brand. It's seen as a benchmark against which other EMRs need to be compared, correct? I'm just putting the big picture. All that you do leads to these buckets, right? What is it in it for the stakeholder? What is going to happen in terms of stakeholder, in terms of value for the promoters, in terms of perception, in terms of did you get what I'm saying, Arfin?
Yes,
I'm taking you to a slightly higher level of this presentation. But what I'm doing is to say that all of this needs to lead on to something. For the stakeholder, for the promoters, for the patients, for the industry, right? For us, for the employees, for you, for all of us. So that's that.
Yeah,
I want you to
I understand. Okay, I will think it through along those lines, definitely. Okay, I will do that.
That becomes your vision. Your vision is not V2. Your vision is our EBITDA. We will be EBITDA positive at the end of this time, right? That we would have X number of customers at this point of time. Our customer experience would be this at this point of time. Remember that the technology is an enabler. It is not the product. I know, I'm hitting you guys at a very, very vulnerable point, but let me say this again. The technology is not the product. The technology is the enabler of the service of the product. So we might have the greatest tech, but if it doesn't serve a purpose, then it's not going to work. So the company itself is thinking of only 5 things. What is the value? So the promoters are the first stakeholders for the company, right? Because they put in the money, they put in the effort. For them, what is the value that you build? Second, all of you, everyone who's part of the team, what is it for the team members? Third, for our primary customers, which are the physicians. Our secondary customers, which are the patients. And 5, I think, our position, our branding, and Cliniqtec as a brand. Think of these 5 things, and then you align what you have to meet those. Then you may actually end up doing some different things because suddenly your viewpoint has changed, because you've stopped looking at it from a tech product. You started looking at it as something that you've done. You remember the word you used, I want to change behavior. That's a worthy vision.
Yes,
tech is an enabler for that behavioral change, right? That's the way to think about it. Smith, Dinesh, Anand, what do you think? Ravi? Am I putting too much of a challenge to you guys, or you guys understand what I'm coming from?
Yeah,
Doc,
this is a surprise for Ashwin, I guess. Yeah.
no.
No, actually, I want to say something, Ashwin. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
By the way, every time we actually discuss about stuff like this, the first question Ashwin always asks us is, what is our plan for the next 2 years? What do we want the company to become? So it's always been there. It's just that I thought we are just focusing on the next 6 months or something like that, and that is. But you are very right. Like we should also think about it now itself and also create a document on that front. But I just want to say that when you ask those questions, I just got reminded of, like, every time Ashwin will always ask this question: what's going to happen in the next 2 years? How is this company go? What is the vision? So we are thinking about it. At least Ashwin definitely is. It's just that today we were thinking about it from a smaller scale, 6 months, 1 year road plan. Also, what are things that we are going to do? That's where we were coming from today, I think. So yeah, just wanted to give that point of view. That's all. Ashwin, you can go ahead.
Smith, Dinesh, anything else?
Dr. Krishna, I think good start. Thank you for that, really precise places to cut in. I think we've got to start. Like I said, I think we should, start putting them one step at a time. We'll get that. So I'm seeing from that, now I'm seeing it from the one step at a time. So I want to get that, that connection of this, send it to you guys, level with that, make that as a baseline, then again do it, and then it'll happen. It'll get some speed and momentum from that angle.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys internally ideate, and somewhere
we need your help in the roadmap. Like we need
April, we should have a so let me see. You can work with this roadmap for now. I'm okay with that. But once the business plan in place, then everything merges, and it is the business plan that drives the roadmap, right? Our ultimate objectives. You guys. So I'm not going to say that I want these as objectives. You can come up with the objectives. You define the objectives and drive a roadmap to that destination. Correct? And therefore, while at this point of time, we are fine with what has been presented and you can start, be prepared for course corrections once you come up with your objectives. So
hey, Doc.
what I would like is for our business plan to be frozen before April 30th. Okay. Is that too much? So which means we have a business plan. Let me say this: our business plan and our first year operating plan to be frozen by April 30th.
Yeah.
Ashwin?
One moment, sorry.
Does that work for you? So we have 6 weeks or 5 weeks.
But I'll have Ashwin answer that, but perhaps he's a little off grid for the time being. Doc.
Yeah.
Well, I'm okay with that. If you see, but it's important to have a business plan before we go too much into this. If we don't know where we are going, then we are going to get stuck somewhere. I think
by April 30th we should freeze both the things, actually, as Dr. Krishna has mentioned.
So if you think you're off, if you need more time, I'm fine with that. Let's do Smith. You give me a time.
No, I just want to discuss that with Ashwin. I want to let Ashwin, give a timeline because he's.
Yeah. So Doc, so okay, I have a few points. Let me start with some of the things that you had mentioned earlier. I do agree with pretty much everything that you said in terms of the business plan and how we need to define the vision, all that. No doubts about that. With respect to this specific meeting, I had this feeling that we have been talking a lot of things at a very high level, and at the ground level, there are certain things that need to get done. And I wanted to keep it very specific, or rather, let me rephrase that. I wanted to define the vision for the next 6 months to a year, not more than that. Because a healthcare product that does all the things that we are hoping to do, I'm not sure if we can say, only X number of customers will come in, or how we are going to even pivot the product 6 months later. I know that for certain things are certain for the next 6 months to a year, but beyond that, I'm not so certain. And I definitely wanted to be a little bit more closer to the ground in terms of defining these goals. Even the stuff that I mentioned today, I felt like a bit sort of, like 10,000 feet rather than, 100 feet up. Now, that said, I agree that we need the business plan. 3 years it is. If you say 3 years, okay, we can work 3 years. And in terms of objectives, I do have those crazy numbers, 10 million patients, every doctor you can think of, every clinic in India should have at least known our names.
That's not a mission, that's a dream. Huh?
Oh, come on. I mean, so
I'm just joking.
Something along those lines, definitely. I will think along those lines. But this meeting, at least my pitch was that my thought process was that I need to give more actionable items to
Ashwin,
everyone.
If I thought that your points were not actionable, and the first thing is that let me put it this way, we're already going on. So at this point of time, I don't think any of the stuff that you've said today, anyone has even an issue about not working, right? So you go ahead and start. The work can start. What I would, but my job is to look at the big picture. So all I'm trying to tell you is that we need a business plan, right? One. Second, we need objectives. Because then there is a way to justify the resource allocations. There's a way to justify the madness, right? Tomorrow, we shouldn't be found wanting about not thinking about something. So to me, this is indeed a workshop that the whole team sits together, brainstorms, comes up. I mean, I gave you a one-line founder mission, but I'd like the mission to be developed by our whole team. The vision, everyone to have and say, okay, this is what we're going to be at the end of a year or 2 years. But then we work back, we write the strategy. For each of the objectives, we have a strategy. So it's not a wasted exercise, it's an important exercise. Second, if you don't have that leap of faith and dream a little, then we will underperform. So it's a good idea to, even if it's a little more than what we can achieve, to push us there. And of course, every year we will expect you to come with an AOP and budgets, and we will revise them. So we will work on that. My support for all of you and everything is already there. If I were not impressed by the kind of work that you people are doing, I would not throw these challenges to you. But having said that, I think it's time to move on from being just a tech company to a true healthcare company, and that is why I'm talking about. Tell me what is in it for the promoter, what is in it for the stakeholders, and I think that's a good way to think about it. Take your time. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. It doesn't have to be end of April. If you have a challenge, give me a time in which we will have a AOP and a business plan.
Okay. All right. In terms of the April 30th timeline, can I get back to you on that? I'm traveling and I'm back in mid-April. I will have the last 10 days of April to work on this.
No, don't do that. So what we will do is sometime, let me look at my calendar. Just see, before we freeze the business plan, we need the workshop. So which means that we are looking at, why don't we plan the workshop around the end of April so that after you come back, you have some time to think about it. And the presentation, the business plan, about 3 to 4 weeks from that time.
That works.
Okay, after the work, that works. Doc, one other thing. As much, see, the business plan is important, no doubt, but I am looking at Cliniqtec right now as a living, breathing entity, even if it's only a few doctors using it. So it needs to grow. It needs to have its sort of, it needs to evolve, and it needs to, we need to keep working on it. So I cannot lose sight of that. And I'm very certain that Ravi will agree with me on this part in terms of the changes, in terms of the milestones, in terms of the work that needs to be done. So I think these two have to happen in parallel to some extent.
Boss, how you do this is your business, right? You're running the show. I'm not.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So I will only come and do these kind of things with you guys. I will stir it up a little. I will shake it up a little, raise the bar a little. But if I do that, it means that I really like what you're doing. If I say, look, you guys are doing a great job, continue, it means that that you're not delivering.
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
If I throw a challenge, it means that I really like what you're doing. If I don't throw a challenge, then it means that okay, I'm observing you. You really don't want me to do that. When I throw a challenge, it means that I really think that you're on the right track. Does it make sense to you?
All right. Okay. I'll bite.
You have to. Okay, guys. I think we've done enough for today. So we have a couple of things. We are a go on all the stuff that you've already presented. We are adding a mission vision workshop on round about the end of April, and we are having a business plan rolled out by end of May. Is that fine?
Yeah.
And when we say business plan, we have a approved business plan from which we have quarterly milestones that go on. Right. And if you guys have any difficulty, what goes into a business plan and stuff, I will work with you offline. That's not an issue.
Yeah, that's
a template on which you can start working.
At least can we get down on the template? I was thinking that we'll just at least get that down so that each person can, see their individual heads in some way or form. At least they can associate with it.
So generally, how a business plan works out is it has a 3 year, it has a 2 or a 3 year horizon, and from which we take from which is frozen by the promoters, and then it is reviewable all the time.
Ashwin, if it's okay by you, can I have Dr. Krishna do one format alone?
I'll send you a template.
And do a template on. Then I'll, then we can all see it, and then at least take that as a baseline and start.
Correct. So at the end of it breaks down to everything that you do. So we'll break it up ultimately into what should tech do, what should operations do, what should human resources do, what should and it makes SPRs for each of those objectives. So who's responsible for this, who's responsible for that? That's what it does. It does all the things that you've been saying. It just puts it into a document that is easily referable. And what ultimately it will end up doing, Smith, is from that, we will have a dashboard of measurables that in every quarterly review, we will be able to say. So for example, the dashboard may be sales, it may be Google ratings, it may be, number downtime in the last, So we usually look at those kind of things. It gives the board an idea of where the company is going. Because generally, I don't like promoters to interfere in the day-to-day affairs of the company. And that is probably the best way to work. So you delegate it to the CXOs or the CEOs, and then over a period of time, you report to the board, and the board keeps track of what's doing. They don't come and say every day, Ashwin, I want you to change this. Ashwin, I don't like it like this is happening. I want my coffee to be a little more darker. Those kind of things are not something that promoters need to do, should do. We give you a mission, we approve the objectives, we approve the vision, and then it's up to you to run with it. So what a business plan does is also it sets the governance in place. It gives you a validity for what you're doing. You can go back to the promoter and say, hey, you asked me to do this, and that's why I'm doing this. Got it?
Yeah. Okay. On another note, one moment. On another note, something I wanted to mention to you the call. In terms of the tech, I know that Ravi and his, your team, like there's another couple of developers who are working with you, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the GitLab process setup and whatnot, can we have some kind of sort of a handover of sorts in terms of what's going on and get that whole process set up? Maybe have a call with the tech team with Anand.
Sure.
Like I wanted Anand to coordinate this, but since everyone's here on the call, I'm asking if that's something that can be worked out.
Sure. Because already we have given a latest update. I guess actually probably in a couple of days we are freezing all the things, development activities. So no more further development activities on the in respect of the application, both mobile app and this web application. Then once it is handed over, we can go ahead with the team and we can have a call. We can start working.
Ravi, I think you should also show Anand, especially the new this thing, right?
Yeah, I think I already have shared the latest UI, the testing server credentials with Anand and other teams.
Ashwin,
I
Okay.
took
do you need me
I took a
anymore
look
on
at
this
it.
call?
Yeah.
Do you need me anymore on this call? I'll only be hurting you guys more.
No. I mean, I just wanted to bring up this one point. That's something that I wanted to mention during the GitLab thing. I just remembered. I think we're good. Right?
So sorry, I
Ravi,
have one question.
Anand?
I
Yeah.
have one question, but doctor, you can. We don't need you for this. I just have this question for Ravi.
Yeah.
So you
Ravi,
you mentioned that.
One
Ravi,
sec.
just before I leave, why don't you, since we've taken so much of their time, why don't we take another 10 minutes from your end, give a brief of the update and the code freeze and all of that, so that you can this process. I mean, Ashwin, the product is ready to be taken over. Okay, that's the way it is. So Ravi,
Okay.
you want to spend some time and give off the update.
Sure.
Actually, I want GJ and Gaurav also to be in that call. So let's schedule some time for that, if you don't mind.
Sure, Anand. We will schedule it.
Yeah.
We have
I just
few
wanted
bugs
one question.
fixing.
So
Yeah, once the bugs are fixed, probably we can take a call and we can go run through and we can freeze the things. Yeah, tell me, Anand. Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
So the code freeze, right? So I know that from the recent expo that in the hotel that you guys had, that there needs to be more features in the app itself, right? Like the existing one.
True.
So when we say code freeze, are we not going to do any of those developments? I'm just trying to understand this better. Like, are we not planning to do any development in that itself, or what is the plan?
At present, we are not
in
going to develop anything on that aspects. Actually, whatever that things are there, until we fully stabilize and we will get we'll start working with the new operation. These things, whatever the new architecture in place with the secure and whatever the scalable architecture.
Okay, because the reason I'm asking is we have not planned anything to do with the UI. So if you are just building the new architecture without supporting the existing application, then the assumption is that we are going to build a new UI as well.
True.
So that means, are we expecting to add these features after 1 year or 8 to 9 months? Is that the plan?
No, that's those things we had to have a discussion. That's why actually I told Ashwin, let us sit together and we will have a discussion on these points. What is the next priority and how are we going to handle these things? One is existing application. How are we transforming it? I call it as a transformation. So how are we handling the transformation? That is important. One aspect. Second thing is parallelly, how are we building the new things also?
Okay. Yeah, I have plans for doing it either way. So let's discuss it when we have that call.
Sure.
And then we can finalize the approach.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Awesome.
second thing is actually Dr. Sanjay just now called me up and he said he has spoken to 4 people and they're all ready for a demo for tomorrow. And I think they're all endocrinologists. That word he wanted to convey to Dr. Krishna. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, no, more people want to see the product and want to sign up. That's very good news.
Yes.
That's 4 down from your million, Ashwin.
And you want to take 1 million steps, you have to take the first one, keep going, right? That's the idea. So we have 4 more steps.
True.
But the most important is our first 1 rupee is in the bank. So,
yeah.
So that's probably even more important. The first set of I don't know. We didn't explain to. I think Smith was there. So Ashwin. So we have not. There is no. We don't have a final price strategy. So that's something we can work later. But what we decided was that we will use the first 50 right now as charter members. Okay. And treat them special. Okay. So, Smith, you had that thing. So what?
Yeah, he has got that.
Right. So what we did was we did a scale-up strategy.
I gave
you shared it. Yeah.
Completely to Ashwin also. Ashwin and Anand.
So it's a very
rudimentary document with these guys. I thought it might be too basic to share, but I'll share it with you guys also immediately.
So at this point,
Smith, we'll put it as an Excel sheet and we will plan it across. Actually, that's better.
I did it as an Excel sheet. I gave a rundown to Ashwin also and also
is it okay?
An extra. Good. So like I said, I thought it might be too basic to share as an Excel sheet. So I showed it to these guys and asked them if they could tell me if I could do something on that. But sure. I'll share it with you guys, so that would make it sense.
Okay. And so one quick update I wanted to give it to the team. Actually, if anyone is free in the sense, anytime actually, whenever we schedule a demo with live doctors who wanted to see our product or how are we doing a demo and all these things, I feel actually yes, some of the people should join us and have a look at it. So that it will be a wonderful thing actually if I accompany more people on the demo aspects and how are we pitching in, what are all the things we are explaining to the doctors and all these things.
Yes, for this I would definitely want to be part of that. I want to be there after I'm back for my travel. But if I was telling Smith that he should be on this. In those demo meetings, Smith as well as Dinesh.
Yes. Probably I'll share whenever we fix up an demo or schedules, I'll add you guys also on the call, so that if on your free time you can just come in and go, so that you can understand the product better. Actually, that's the idea.
Ravi, wait 1 second. I want to say something. So one of the things is that so we didn't want to go into a per patient strategy at this point of time, simply because I don't think our market is ready for it at the lowest end. We're not talking about hospitals. We're talking about doctors. So that is one of the reasons we've done. So this is only for the first 50 charter members. That's simply because we need to get some money into the system also. While we keep going. So having a few lakhs in the system means we pay the admin guys, the ones that are working in Ravi's office, Deepa and all of that. So in fact, I was the one who said, go ahead for these first 50 charter members, do a 2-year or a 3-year thing, simply because what it does is it brings in a corpus into the organization for us to work with. As we scale, we can always revisit it and then, come up with a different strategy. Ashwin, so I took that decision that day without your involvement. Smith was there, but I hope that's okay. So this is a startup thing for 50, the first 50 on boards.
So with respect to the first 50, my understanding is they get the product at a discounted price and they'll be actively helping us build out the product when working with us in terms of fixing bugs, things like that, right? Is there anything else that they get special attention?
No, they don't. In fact, all of them have, for a year, they have not paid. Many of them.
Got it.
Now they're all paying up. So we're actually charging them for the last 2 years. and all of them, and I think the money started coming in, right?
Okay, that deserves a big round of applause. Dr. Ishra, open the meeting with that.
No, we have
Wow.
our first, I think we have our first few lakhs inside.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yeah,
Yes,
congratulations to all of
yes,
us. Congratulations to the
we
team.
onboarded 2 years 3 members and 3 years 1 member, one doctor. Yeah, that's a great thing. Who subscribed for 2 years as a 3 members and who wanted to go for 3 years as a one of the doctors. Yes, and a few more we are
3 years,
adding.
yeah, is Krishna Prashanti or Rama Mohan?
3 years, Dr. Syed wants to go.
Okay, okay, great. So, we call them our starter members or star members, and some point of time we'll work it out. Okay, so that's the reason for the pricing strategy. We have, in fact, Smith, if you notice that we have scaled it up. For example, if you're a one doctor clinic with X number of members, if you're more than up to 5 doctors, what is it? So we'll use that for a time till you guys look at it and come up with a different pricing strategy. Otherwise, what was happening was Ravi and Sanjay were not sending bills to people, and I was getting a little desperate, so we did that.
Okay.
Okay, but it looks like it works.
Yeah. The clinic portion of it can be worked on, Doc. Like the single clinic, multi-clinic, multi-location clinic would definitely be a good starting point.
Right. I would suggest not to go with per patient at this point of time. It's a bad strategy. It backfires.
Per patient?
Sorry, yeah, so a lot of companies, including GE, do per patient, right?
Oh, okay.
I think that's a bad strategy for the Indian market.
Yeah, agreed. The physicians will drive the revenue here.
Yeah. Okay, guys, you can continue the tech work. I'm out of here. Bye. Great show, Ashwin. Good work. What you presented, I'm really impressed. It's yours to take it forward. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Doctor. Hello.
Yeah.
Now the doc is appreciating. No, I'm not sure whether he's happy with what I said or
he's expecting more.
Or he's expecting more. I'm really not sure. Because he challenged me and then towards the end it's like, oh, good work.
Don't worry, he's always like that. Okay. Ashwin, let's plan together actually, and let's put forward, define our roadmap properly. Let's take it proper decision. This is what the achievable milestone, and this is what the requirement is, and this is what the deliverables. That's the best idea, because otherwise this will not go forward.
Yeah, so along those lines, my understanding was that we are already talking about things at a very high level that I need to talk about really sort of not necessarily day to day, but at least month on month or 6 months time frame, so that we know what we are working towards. That was the idea behind this pitch, this presentation also. But
one sec,
and Dr. Venti.
One sec, he is calling. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So no, that was like I said before, that was the reasoning.
See, I feel actually this whatever the presentation you have made today is excellent. Okay, let's keep this momentum. Let's start off and let's continue the things whatever where we stopped it, and let's focus on that. But the business goals and all these things, yes, parallelly we can work together, and you can work with Dr. Krishna parallelly. But let us focus on the main target things actually. That's better.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
What, Smith?
No, I'll let Ashwin finish in that line. I have a totally different.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you on this. like I said before, I'm traveling, so the frequency at which I respond might be lesser than before, but I'll definitely keep up as much as possible with the messages and keep you updated. I'll message on Slack.
Yeah.
Because with WhatsApp, everyone's there. And it's a single group. Conversation gets lost. I think it's easier to track on
True.
that. Also, Docker, I've taken down notes in terms of what the doctor asked, what you asked, what Arun has asked. There's a bit of overlap, but definitely is something that I'll need to work on. I need some time for this. But yes, sorry, Smith, you were saying.
Agreed. Absolutely. So I just want to ask two things. So let's make that that the end of the month meeting in such a way that at least we can take something and start working out from there. Let's not start putting those numbers or things, at least like a baseline, we'll put that up. That alone, let us try to get to some extent. Even if it is 50% half-baked, it's okay. That would help us like drive the momentum really quick when we make that meeting. That alone I request. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's
Smith, that's basically
good.
work for you and I, man.
I mean, like I agree. I do want to agree. But I mean, I'm not going to put any pressure on you. I'm just saying that let's ask.
No, I'm fine. I'm saying I'm fine. Like you're requesting Ravi there. If anything, Ravi needs to request us that. But as in, you're just talking about what you and I need to do. That's fine. Yes. Okay. End of April.
All right.
No, don't go for end of April. Actually, he won't leave you that so long. Mark my words.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, this I'll take it offline. I'll discuss with each of you individually and then sort of like baseline it. I'll get to that comfort level that way. I'll do that. Okay. Second, Ravi sir, just 1 day heads up on some demo time. I'll definitely be able to make it. If you let me know just 1 day before, I'll somehow squeeze in an hour somewhere in between to come on that.
Sure, definitely. I'll put it on this thing. So anyone, whoever is free, they can join. Just to understand the product. That's it.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I want to be on it because then I'll be able to help Dr. Sanjay also.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when are you coming back, Ashwin? I'm
back in India April 17th.
Oh God. Okay, good. Have a good vacation. Enjoy it.
I think this is going to be the last one for a while. So
Ravi said, what vacation? It's honeymoon.
Honeymoon. Sorry, yeah. Not a vacation. It's honeymoon.
This is like the Maharaj of
all. So Smith, when are you coming this side?
Sir, I'll keep you posted, sir. Honestly, I thought maybe I'll have something coming in, but again, I'm stuck with my couple of my things here. So yeah.
Ravi, I'm actually planning on coming to Bangalore the week after I land. So I will likely be there 20th, between 20th and 22nd.
Please welcome.
So I'll be there.
Yeah. Let's have a before that actually itself. Yeah, whenever you wanted my help, actually, please always ask me. If possible, I'll make some time and we will work it out. Because I know the thing is actually what he is expecting is the important one. Actually, what doctor is expecting is the first thing. Second thing is what we have to take it forward is the second thing. So let us. My conclusion is let us work together in the sense actually work parallelly together those aspects, because he will ask yes, I wanted 100 billion, but it will not happen in a day. So we have to work for that actually. So how do we work it? Let's see.
Okay. All right.
And I think Harun's PAN card has come. Actually, we are working on his DSE. We are waiting for his term sheets. I guess once we get a term sheets, yes, the other things will go to streamline. That's the update.
Okay.
We wanted to give it on that respective of the documentation work, what was pending from Harun's side. Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right. Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's I've been waiting for it for a while. I mean, I was not kidding when I said we don't have an official company account to pay for Slack or any of the services we use.
True.
Like
True,
if you
true.
have an account, if you have a business account with money, I'd like to link that to these accounts and get that.
No, we have not bought anything on the till now actually on the company's account. Actually, we have a domain registrations and all these things. But good thing actually you have asked, so we can start planning it across. Yes, we have three email IDs, official email IDs going in cliniqtec.io. But yes, probably we can see whether we wanted to keep those things or we wanted to keep it as a brand name or whatever it is. Those things we can take a call and we can go ahead with that.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't have anything else right now. That's it in terms of my updates.
Sure. Thank you. Let's catch up later. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night. I
Ravi
think
sir, if I'm coming anytime, I'll
Dinesh is
definitely-
muted and I think he is in sleep.
Yeah, possible. Yeah, actually sleeping.
I know. Yes,
No, I'm still
unmuted.
there. I'm still there. I'm not sleeping.
Okay.
Hey, Dinesh,
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'll talk to you later, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Ravi sir, I'll definitely let you know if I'm coming there sometime.
Sure.
If Ashwin's coming there around that time, I'll try and definitely make it a plan. But if anytime before, I'll keep you posted.
Sure. No problem. Yeah.